Hello, this video sees me locking my hawk eye over the theme of family in Dickens' festive novella, A Christmas Carol. Now I'll have a look at 3 points in the text where the theme of family bubbles to the surface, then I'll lay on 1 or 2 model exam paragraphs, the like of which will be shotgun in joy in the examiner's cold, calloused heart. We get a whiff of this theme, the theme of family, when we see Belle split up with the younger Scrooge in stave 2. The ghost of Christmas past is taking Scrooge back to his roots to see what helped shape Scrooge into becoming this pin-eyed, cold of soul, heartless old miser. Now Belle reckons that she's been replaced in Scrooge's heart by a golden idol. That's the quotation. In other words, money. Scrooge now worships wealth. He eats, sleeps and poops money, to the detriment of all other human interaction and human experiences. And this is not really a trait that Belle admires in a man, hence her giving Scrooge his marching orders, kicking him out. And as my goofy cartoon illustrates, with the dead heart felled by the golden arrow, greed has destroyed, eroded, atomised Scrooge's capability to love. His purblind pursuit of wealth, that's a posh term for greed, his purblind pursuit of wealth has compelled him to reject any chance of a life, a family, with Belle. Now at this point you can see right off the bat the link between the text and the theme of family. In spite of their poverty, the Cratchits appear a very happy family. And if you're scratching your head right now thinking, why has that div drawn a picture of some drunken potatoes? What on earth has that got to do with the theme of family and the Cratchits? All will be revealed. And here is the justification for that cartoon. You see, I'm imagining I'm in an exam, a closed book exam, and I can't for the life of me remember an honest to goodness quote to back up my assertion that the Cratchits are a happy family. But what I can remember is there's a kind of light-hearted comment by Dickens about the potatoes in the pan when they're bubbling. It says that they knocked loudly to be let out. And what that quote captures is perhaps the excitement and the joy and the energy of the Cratchit family Christmas in stave 2. You know, even the potatoes want in on the act. And why is this scene significant? Well, it's showing that poverty is no barrier to happiness. Look at the Cratchits, poor as church mice, and yet blissfully contented with each other. In fact, I think there's a better quote which I've rummaged around and found. It says, they were pleased with one another. So there's a sense that this is a joyous, tight-knit family. And I think Dickens is arguing here that family bonds, strong, loving family bonds, are as important to life as money. Now, you know, I'm not some daft hippie who thinks money's irrelevant. You know, best of luck feeding a family of 7 children if you've just got love in the house. But love is an important ingredient component into a happy life. That's Dickens' point here. Our third and final point, linking the theme of family to the text of Christmas Carol, comes into stave 4, when Scrooge is feeling uptight downtown in some dingy pocket of old London town, accompanied by the ghost of Christmas yet to come. And they overhear some servants bragging about how they've robbed the corpse of a dead man and the house of a dead man. Now it transpires later on in this stave that that dead man is in fact Scrooge himself. And that link to family becomes clearer through this evidence. One robber claims that if this guy had been more natural in his lifetime, he wouldn't have died alone and been prey to opportunist thieves. And by the term natural, presumably this robber means that if the man's veins had run with human warmth, if he'd been able to foster and develop human relationships, that would have been natural, that would have been normal. And perhaps here we're seeing an upending, a challenging of Scrooge's assumptions, because we're seeing family and not finance appearing to be the truly empowering phenomenon here. You know, if you're unnatural, obsessed with greed over human relationships, that will ultimately render you more vulnerable, because there's going to be no family, no loved ones around to secure you dignity in death. Have a look at my pseudo-mathematical cartoon, top of this slide. Money minus love means you've got 3/5 in that full. Your life is nothing, so says Dickens, if you do not have loving family or emotional bonds with people. Right, what we'll do now is we'll build up a winning paragraph from scratch using some of the ideas from this video. Here's our question, which is based along the Edexcel Part B question, although you can bet the farm it'll applies to other exam boards and exam specs as well. Explain the way in which the theme of family is explored in the novel. This question demands a thematic approach, so I'm not really looking at language techniques and structural techniques. I'm just interpreting incidents and episodes in the book where the theme of family appears. And there's a quick tip in blue to facilitate high performance in the exam for this kind of question. Write in a critical, formal style, present a range of intelligent points and interpretations using appropriate references to the text in support. Let's kick off then with our response to this question, focusing on the theme of family in A Christmas Carol. Dickens presents the theme of family in stave 2 when Scrooge witnesses his younger self breaking up with his fiancée, Belle. You'll notice here I've employed that keyword family. That's keeping my response task focused. Also, I've mentioned the stave, the chapter that it occurs in. I wouldn't say this is mission critical. You don't have to if you're not sure, but I do think it lends an aura of knowledge and competence if you can cite the correct stave when you're writing. So we've polished our point. Next step, let's bolt on some supporting evidence. Ta-da! And here's our quotation to back up our point. Belle believes Scrooge's love for her has been usurped by a golden idol. You'll notice I've embedded that quote, golden idol, into my own sentence, just for the sake of fluency, which the examiner appreciates. We're now going to round off the point evidence explanation structure by adding some information, analysing or interpreting this evidence. This implies that Scrooge's purblind pursuit of wealth has a destructive impact on his capacity for love. You'll note that I've really developed that critical style by using articulate phrasing such as the purblind pursuit of wealth, destructive impact. I'm really going for a formal, non-slangy phrasing here to shunt my grade upwards. And because I don't want the examiner thinking that I'm straying off topic like some rambling old man, I've thrown in this final line here just to loop back to the focus of the question, that theme of family. Here we are. Thus, greed denies Scrooge the chance of starting a life and a family with Belle. But what's this little nugget of gold that you've tacked on at the back end, Mr. Taylor? Well, this is something that's really going to help push you towards the highest grade, because what I've done here is I've taken something else from that scene and held it to the light for the examiner's inspection. I've developed my interpretation, if you will. It's not always possible to do, but if you can do it, it's recommended. Here we are. Moreover, the older Scrooge's anguish at witnessing this scene emphasises he now perceives that choosing finance over family was a grave mistake. Now that's smoothly done, Mr. Taylor. You've even woven in the word family again to entrench the idea in the examiner's head that you're doing exactly what he wants. A brief pause here to plug my spiffy ebook. Lots of lovely people have been buying and benefiting from my top spec, dirt cheap ebook. And if you found my videos useful, buying this thing just helps to buy me, the odd pie, the odd beer of a Friday night. But more importantly than that, it really will supersise your writing skills for the exam. But back to business. Now I'm not going to read this out, but this has taken another idea from the video and turned it into another eye-wateringly well written exam paragraph. Same structure as before. Read it at your leisure. Now I know you're not Muppets, I know you realise that there are countless episodes, incidents and quotations in this text, all alluding to the theme of family. I'll just pick 3. If any of them aren't rocking your world, by all means think about this one as well. Fred in stave 1 says that he's married for love, and that's why he's happy. You could even consider the quote from stave 5 where Scrooge is described as being like a second father to Tiny Tim, such as the love and support and money that he lavishes on him. Woohoo! We can all exhale. Mr. Taylor's burblings are at an end. Read this at your leisure. It just sums up the fruits of our labour today. And that's your lot. The theme of family in A Christmas Carol, deconstructed like an absolute winner. Many thanks to my young daughter for laying on these final 4 pictures, and, as they say on the continent, arrivederci.